Will MetaQuest as we know it survive in 2025? What are you even talking about? Have you seen the latest Steam hardware and software survey? They're literally killing it in terms of usage share. Well, we're gonna talk about that today. And we're also gonna be talking about a leaked memo from Meta's CTO that pretty much validates what I said in my previous video on how Meta can't really continue going down this path and that eventually change will have to occur because you can only keep an unsustainable business going for so long. But before diving into these topics, do me a favor if you enjoy my content and if you want to see more VR coverage on this channel, then make sure you hit that subscribe button. A very small percentage of you guys are subscribed, most of you unfortunately are not, so please consider subscribing to support the channel and also hit that like button and share the video out so that we reach more people and that will help us get closer to our monthly subscriber goal. As always, thank you so much for your support. Alright, so we're starting here with the impressive data from the recent Steam hardware and software survey conducted in January 2025. And as you guys can see, Meta is dominating the charts here, with the Oculus Quest 2 at the number one spot as usual with a 31.67% usage share. No surprises there, it has been like this since like forever at this point, but let's take a look at the second and fifth place, where the Quest 3 is up 3.12% and the Quest 3S up 2.89% compared to December 2024. Thanks to the significant boost, the Quest 3 now has a 23.26% usage share and the Quest 3S has an impressive 4.85%. And that is very impressive because guys, Quest 3S was released last October, so it has been out for just a couple of months and still it has managed to reach more than 4.85% users on Steam. Yes, the real usage share is more than what's written here, because there is one thing you should be aware of. You see, when you link your Quest 3S to Steam using Quest Link or Virtual Desktop, SteamVR sees your Quest 3S headset as a Quest 3 headset. So basically what I'm trying to say is that the Quest 3S percentage on January survey, that 4.85%, that only represents the Quest 3S headsets using the Steam Link app, whereas the rest of Quest 3S headsets using Quest Link or Virtual Desktop, those are represented in the 23.26% Quest 3 figure. So what do we make of this interesting data? Well, the first important thing to note here is that combining Quest 3 and Quest 3S gives us 28.11%. That is very close to the Quest 2 figure, so I personally would expect the Quest 3 lineup to dethrone the Quest 2 by the end of 2025 when it comes to SteamVR usage share. That is very good news for Meta's hardware division. That means their headsets are selling extremely well, and I don't think this comes as a surprise to anyone. The second important thing to note here is that if we combine every Quest and Oculus Rift headset on this chart, well, that gives us a whopping 69% usage share. That is wild. That means out of 10 VR users on Steam, there are almost 7 users with a Quest or an Oculus Rift headset. Talk about absolute dominance, am I right? But what does this all mean for Meta? Well, obviously, like I just said, this is great news for their hardware division. However, we have to remember that Meta's primary goal, just like any other company in this field really, is to keep you locked into its platform, its own ecosystem. Meta has its own storefront, so they want you to buy games from their storefront. They will give you the option to use your Quest headset elsewhere, but they would much rather if you just engage with their platform. And this is where the main problem begins. Unfortunately, Meta has low engagement, and I talked about this in my previous video, so I highly recommend you go watch that video right now and then you get back here. What I'm going to say now will make much more sense if you watch that video first, so make sure you check it out. But yeah, like I said in that video, Meta has been bleeding money ever since they started this metaverse business, and regardless of how big of a company you are, you just can't keep investing in a losing business. That makes zero sense financially speaking. So a couple of days ago, I told you guys that Mark Zuckerberg sees 2025 as a pivotal year in determining the trajectory of Meta's long-term projects. And today, we have the CTO of Meta basically doubling down on that statement. This news comes to us courtesy of Upload VR. I'm gonna read the highlight of this article and then we'll discuss. The title says, quote-unquote, Meta CTO. 2025 will determine whether Reality Labs is visionary or a legendary misadventure. It says here, quote-unquote, in a leaked memo, Meta CTO told staff that 2025 will determine whether its hardware and metaverse division is quote-unquote the work of visionaries or a legendary misadventure. According to Business Insider, the outlet the memo was leaked to, Meta CTO and head of Reality Labs Andrew Bosworth shared the memo titled 2025 The Year of Greatness to Reality Labs staff back in November. Quote-unquote, next year is going to be the most critical year in my 8 years at Reality Labs. We have the best portfolio of products we've ever had in the market and are pushing our advantage by launching half a dozen more AI-powered wearables. We need to drive sales, retention, and engagement across the board, but especially in mixed reality. And Horizon Worlds on mobile absolutely has to break out for our long-term plans to have a chance. If you don't feel the weight of history on you, then you aren't paying attention. This year likely determines whether this entire effort will go down as the work of visionaries or a legendary misadventure. On paper, 2024 was our most successful year to date, but we aren't sitting around celebrating because no, it isn't enough. We haven't actually made a dent in the world yet. The price for good work is the opportunity to do great work. Unquote. I'm not gonna read the entire memo because it's a little bit too long, and I don't think the rest of what's being said here is very relevant. But of course, I'll have a link in the description below for you to check out if you're interested. So what Meta CTO is saying here absolutely proves what I said in my last video. The time of overspending, the time of bleeding green is over at Meta. They want to see results and they want to see it now. And honestly, I don't think anyone can blame them. They have lost nearly $70 billion for the past 6 years. Guys, that's no joke. 2025 might very well be the last year in which we see Meta heavily pushing XR. Obviously, we don't want to see that, because that would be a huge loss for the industry. But that's just how it is at this point. They will either score big this year, which would mean more serious investment in XR, including of course the thing that we love the most, VR gaming. Although I'm not convinced that matters much to them, I think they care more about their AI glasses, but we'll see. Or we could be seeing similar results to the last couple of years. Terrible results, huge losses, and in that case, MetaQuest as we know it will change forever, and not for the better. Quest 4, that's definitely coming. But will they show the same support that they have been showing to the Quest 3? I don't think so. Will there even be a Quest 5 if 2025 disappoints? Who knows? All I'm gonna say is that if you love Meta, no, scratch that. If you love VR, if you wanna see this industry growing, then you have to put your money where your mouth is. Did you play Batman Arkham Shadow? Did you enjoy it? Do you wanna see more games like that? Well, then you gotta show your support in 2025, because if you don't, well, whether you know it or not, you will be contributing to the potential death of the MetaQuest platform. But that's just my opinion. I'm interested to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments if you think 2025 is going to be a big year for Meta and VR in general or not. And I'll see you guys in the next video, but until then, take care.